With less than a year to go before Nigeria's 2027 general elections, a high-stakes Citizens Townhall took place in Abuja to examine the newly signed Electoral Act 2026. The event brought together citizens, civil society organizations, electoral experts, former and current electoral officials, lawmakers, and key political stakeholders. The town hall was organized by the Civil Society Network on Electoral Integrity, with the Center for Media and Society serving as a key member of the coalition committed to strengthening democratic engagement and transparency in Nigeria's electoral process.
That look, you cannot prevent, because your card reader cannot read the fingerprints of a voter, you should allow that voter vote, but record it, because if you don't record it, then there will be a discrepancy between the figures of accredited voters in the smart card reader and in your ECHA, in your result sheets. People now bypass the smart card reader. They now start just using instant form. So you have a community, you can have 90% is smart card reader, which may brilliantly designed and very effective, but maybe 90-something%, I believe, it was very effective. But we now found out that on the field, they now said it was 10% effective. So many other people did not use the smart card reader. When they want to cheat, they now started using the instant form. So that's the excuse now. Once you are given an exception, then the exception becomes the rule. And that's our fear, because it's our recent history. We have witnessed it. So when you say network failure, then you find out that even though there's a 2G 93, 94%, 3G 86%, you now find out that when the results start coming, you don't find out so many appeals will come and say, sorry, failure of the network.
The political class of our country has decided that our political system and our democracy will not mature. And that's why it is sad that the opportunity we had to finally get the kind of electoral law that citizens would have absolute confidence in was botched. So what was we do? I think that number one, it is not yet over concerning the real-time electoral transmission of results and policy.
INEC Chairman Joash Amuputan addressed concerns over technical challenges, acknowledging network limitations, but reassuring Nigerians that technology will remain central to delivering transparent and credible elections.
Thank you very much. I forgot to speak about a safeguard that we have introduced into BVAS now. Before, at the polling unit, when you are transmitting results, the usual problem has not even been addressed. At collation stage, the collation officers, returning officers, they have the power to make some changes. And this can only happen if the result at the polling unit has not been properly reconciled. But now, we have introduced some validation and some safeguard in the BVAS that it will not even go at all. So it's not a question, because before now, what is expected is that the presiding the collation officer must check the results of the physical from ECHA plus what has been compared with what has been transferred to INEC before the results is collected. But most of the time, you discover they don't do it. And then the result will still go to the next stage. So one important safeguard that we have introduced into this BVAS, we tested during this FCT election, and we are still auditing it. It will not even go to INEC.
Former INEC National Commissioner Okechukwu Ibianu, alongside Chidi Wafo, highlighted potential gaps in the law, stressing that legislative reforms alone cannot safeguard democracy.
But I think it's also important to mention that the problem is not necessarily with the amendment. It is the extent to which we are willing to honestly commit to the implementation of the law. And we have not been adept, we haven't been that good at doing so. And so if the custodians of the law, and particularly those who implement it, INEC essentially, but also other agencies, and those who interpreted the judiciary, if they decide to undermine the act, whatever amendment you have becomes essentially academic. And I'm hoping that this time around, we are going to turn this around.
The Citizens Townhall provided a live platform for Nigerians to interrogate the Electoral Act 2026 and better understand its implications for the 2027 general elections.
No, not at all. Let me just give you the issue of transmission. You know, if I pick a machine to snap a result, I'm the only person that have access to that machine. Nobody else regularly sitting behind the machine. Nobody will know whether I've snapped the result or not. I can send it to snap the result. I'll hold as if I've snapped, I'll move the machine away, I'll go to safety, and then correct what I want to correct, and snap and transmit at my convenience. So enforcing that transmission of result should be used to validate the result comes to the lapses because you're having an unencrypted process, and then everything is manual control, and then you say what is now convert to become electronic and then transfer it. You can't use a third-party result to validate a result, a primary result, because you will use a primary result for validation, not a secondary result for validation.
Organizers also sustain transparency, institutional readiness, and active citizen participation will ultimately determine the credibility of Nigeria's democracy. From Abuja, I am Benita Ibrahim reporting for UTV Africa.